Hey everyone, Tony D with another hot take. This one on the Bernie Bros. Bernie Bros, what are you doing? There's been a lot of incidents, it seems, with the Bernie Bros of late and even in the past. Now, that isn't to say there isn't violence in political rallies and with so many people around. It certainly happened at the Trump rallies a couple of times. But the Bernie Bros violence seems to be different because it seems to align politically, kind of, and what they do. And whereas Bernie has denounced the violence as any sensible human being would, and certainly a sensible politician would, he hasn't, in my view, really purged his campaign of people who have said some things that are beyond the pale. I mean, look, when Republicans, and they've had their share of guys who have said horrific things, usually really racist things, 9 times out of 10, they get kicked out right away. And if not, public outcry is such that they eventually get kicked out. Hasn't happened with Bernie. And I think part of the reason is, as I said in the previous video, but I wanted to expand on it a little more, is the idea that, this collectivist idea that everyone's equal. That, well, we shouldn't need security. Bernie has the stage because we allow him to have the stage. But any one of us could be up there, right? Because we're all in the same cause and we're all exactly the same. That just isn't the case. Bernie Sanders is a longtime politician, and he's running for president, not some vegan girls who decided to protest Big Dairy on a dare. And let me point out specifically the vegan girls. I feel they're the tiny slice of Bernie Bros supporters that are, I think, very narcissistic. Because I don't think they believe for a second that protest is going anywhere. What is the best case scenario when a woman comes up, takes the microphone from Bernie, or tries to, and then grabs another microphone, and then 3 topless girls come over and start pouring fake blood on themselves? Like, okay, so imagine the best possible scenario for them. The best possible scenario is to go, oh, ladies, you've made an excellent point. I am now in favor of destroying all dairy farms. They are my Bernie imitation is terrible. They are terrible, and I will, as president, destroy all dairy. I mean, that would be the best possible scenario, right? Bernie would be out of his mind to do that, obviously, because it would, first off, it would open the door to any wacko with a thought in their head to barge up on stage and tell Bernie his policy. That would be number one, which means every time he gave a speech, there would be literally dozens of people trying to do exactly that. Secondly, the press would paint him as, are you out of your mind? You just took these people's suggestion and within a few seconds you've decided that that's your policy. That's bizarre. Like, you've never talked about this before and now suddenly you're doing it. So there's no way Bernie could, that you're going to win over Bernie. And quite frankly, the protest against Big Dairy, I think even these women know in the back of their minds, isn't going to happen today. What this is really about, I think, for them is they get a great story. They get to go back to the dorm and tell you, oh yeah, we went to the Bernie rally. I took off my top and I had something written on it on my chest, and then I poured fake blood on myself. That ought to show those people. And it's really about them and their, them being the center of attention. And I think, unfortunately, politics attracts a lot of those people. They want to be the center of attention. And I think the Bernie Bros in particular, and there's some studies to suggest that this is true, I think a lot of them have a screw loose. That there was this recent study that said people on the extreme left tend to have more mental problems than any other political group. And I think it's true. I think you have a lot of well-meaning people with serious problems and they're trying to use politics to solve them. And you can't. You can't solve politics. If you're afraid, for instance, of loud noises or of the din in a room, right? You know what the din is, right? There's too many people in the room, they're all talking, it's kind of hard to hear. Well, there was a guy at the Democratic Socialists of America meeting who stood up and chastised the room for too much din because he couldn't concentrate and he couldn't hear and it was triggering for him. That can't be everybody else's problem, obviously, if you're going to be in politics. That is a personal problem that you have to deal with as a person, I believe, and you deal with that either through some therapy or there's probably some sort of hearing aid you could wear to cut down the din. But it's a problem for you. It's not a problem for everybody in the room, for the hundreds or so Democratic Socialists who showed up that day. You can't make it. You can't put it all on them. And I think there's a lot of people on the left side of politics who wrongly believe that everybody in the party should be attentive to their immediate problem like that. Bernie bros have had a problem with saying some of the most extreme things. The Project Veritas videos, which I talked about, you should definitely look them up if you haven't seen them. They're going to be all over Trump's commercials if Bernie is nominated. You know, you have these guys who think, first off, they think they're communist. They have no idea what communism was like in Soviet Russia. They have this romanticized delusion in their head taught to them by their college professors. They believe that the gulags weren't that bad, that they were exaggerated by the CIA, and that people got conjugal visits and money. And, these were horror shows. I mean, read the Gulag Archipelago and read just how horrific they were. These guys are delusional. They want desperately to belong to something that's smart, and they think they're smarter than everybody because they've embraced communism or socialism or Marxism or whatever. They believe in, I think, a utopian vision where you can equalize everything. You cannot equalize everything. You just can't. People aren't equal. It's as simple as that. People of different age ranges aren't equal. I'm older than probably many of you. I'm 53. So if you're in your 30s, I just know more things than you. I just have more personal experience with certain things. I don't know everything. Obviously, you might know something more than me, but with age comes wisdom. So how do you equalize that? Some people are taller. Some people are fatter. Some people are quick. Some people, it's like that story about the guy who was like really smart and strong, and they put weights on him so he'd have to carry the weights because everybody had to be equal in society, and so this guy was like really good at everything, so they had to put all this stuff on him just to make him equal to everyone. You can't have that. And if you can't have that, then communism can't work, because there'll always be someone with a little more. And that's a problem in communism, because the idea is to level everyone. And the only way it comes close is everyone becomes poor, except, the guys on top who are running everything and laughing at your expense. Fortunately, I don't think there's any chance of communism making a comeback in the United States anytime soon. And same thing with socialism. So I think these guys are delusional. They haven't seen the writing on the wall that maybe 75% of the Democratic Party is against Bernie. They're against socialism. They understand that Bernie is far, far, far to the left. Not that he's a bad person per se. Not that he's not a genuine guy. I think he genuinely believes most of the nonsense he espouses. But he can't possibly pay for that, right? He can't pay for free college. Think about free college for a moment. Just think about what it would do, right? College is free. It's absolutely free. Which college do you get to go to for free? well, everybody should go to Harvard, right? I mean, why shouldn't everyone get a Harvard education? Well, you can't all go to Harvard. It's millions of people, and they can't all cram into Harvard and get a Harvard degree. So there's going to be a hierarchy. Not everyone will get into Harvard. And if everyone could get into Harvard, if we turned every college campus into a clone of Harvard, that would make the Harvard degree worthless because everybody would have one. And what specialty would it be to have a Harvard degree if everyone had it? If you go to the gas station and the guy at the gas station has a Harvard degree, and you have a Harvard degree, and the guy at the Starbucks has a Harvard degree, and the guys at McDonald's all have Harvard degrees, and the guy sweeping up the trash has a Harvard degree. And by the way, who's going to do all those jobs? You got a Harvard degree. The thinking is, well, if you got a college degree, you're going to get a better job than sweeping up trash. Guess what? People still have to do that. People still have to do these jobs. So who's going to do them? And reality check, we already have people doing those kinds of jobs who have college degrees. So where are the amazing jobs going to come from for all these college graduates? They don't exist. And they're not going to magically appear just because everyone's going to college for free. There's still going to be approximately the same amount of jobs. Yeah, there'll be slightly more college jobs because we're going to need to build thousands of more classrooms and dorms to accommodate millions and millions of more students. And they'll all go to college because it's free. Why wouldn't you go if it's free? Why wouldn't you take something that's valuable for free if it's free? Okay? So now take your average college. I went to college. I have a college degree. Whoop-de-doo. So my college, just like everybody else, they're going to want to make money. And they want to accommodate the community at the same time. So you need you need probably hundreds of new classrooms and thousands of new dorm rooms. How are you going to build them? How are you going to get them all built? The first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to drop all the amenities, right? They're going to have to gut the student union and turn it into housing. They're going to have to gut, some of the sports things. Forget about tennis. They're going to bulldoze the tennis courts and put up more classrooms. Bring in some trailers and use them as classrooms until the permanent ones can be built. Oh, here's Little Joan to say hi. Hi, Little Joan. All those great amenities that colleges have, all those things that you could luxuriate at a college. Like we had movie night, we had bands and comedians, we had awesome food, the stuff that makes college super expensive, by the way. All that stuff's going to be thrown under the bus because they're going to have to hire way more professors. They're going to have to build way more classrooms and dorm rooms, and they're going to have to accommodate all these people. And they're just going to be thousands and thousands more of them. And that'll just be at one college. All the colleges will have to do it. They'll never be able to keep up with the demand. There's too many people. And then there's not going to be any jobs when these people get out of college. So how is this going to work? How is this a good thing? It doesn't make any sense. And the colleges are still going to want to charge tens of thousands of dollars for this degree that's going to be worthless because everybody will have one. So if you're an employer and you got to hire somebody with a college degree, you're going to get 1,000 applicants. You can't hire them all. And there's not enough jobs. So some of these people are going to end up sweeping up anyway. And some of them will be idiots. We'll have every idiot going to college because what will stop them? College is free. If college is free, no one will stop the idiots. There's no competition. Everybody gets to go. Morons will go to college and learn nothing. Everybody has been to high school, right? You've been to high school. You know people who went to high school who spent their entire high school time getting stoned, getting drunk, and getting laid. All those people would be going to college, dummy. All of them. And guess what they'll be doing? Not going to class. Why would you go to class? It's free. You go to class next semester. I'll spend a year here. Getting drunk, getting high, and getting laid. Why not? It's all free. And what else is free? Are the dorms free? Are the books free? How about travel to and from the college? Is that free too? I mean, you're talking free college. I need a place to live. Where do I live in the breaks? Does the college have to pay for that during spring break if I got nowhere to go? Homeless people could go to college. Why not? They'll have a place to live and free food. Is the food free? None of this makes any sense, and Bernie couldn't possibly pay for it. We're talking trillions of dollars. He doesn't have enough money. And if you think you're going to get it from the millionaires, you're out of your mind. The millionaires and billionaires will leave. I say again, in France, 10,000 millionaires left when they announced all these new rules for millionaires, all these new taxes. The year they instituted all those rules, 15,000 left the next year. 25,000 millionaires left France because of the new rules. What do you think the millionaires, if you had $25 million, you live a great life. You take a half-hour phone call every day, check in with your broker to make sure your money's making more money. You make about $1 million or $2 million a year. Just, very conservative investments. And you just do whatever you want. You go on vacation, you go on cruises, you have a great time. Then your accountant calls, since Bernie Sanders has been elected president, you're going to be paying a 90% tax rate. So that $2 million you used to get every year, well, it's really going to be like maybe $200,000. What? What the hell, man? I got to save my money. I have this lifestyle. Oh, all right. Well, we can move your money off the seas. Don't worry. I'll figure it out. We'll get your money out of the country. You might have to change your citizenship, but it'll be all good. And then you go, oh, thank God. All right, call me. Let me know what I have to do. And then you fill out a bunch of paperwork. You hide all your money in Singapore and all over the planet. And then you maybe move your citizenship to the UK or Singapore or whatever country has the least amount of taxes that you can leave and come and go as you please. Voila, you just saved your money and you left the United States with all of it. Do you think the people in the United States, the rich people who run the country, are going to approve of these rules in the first place? No! What are you, stupid? They run the country already. Do you think they're going to allow Bernie to change the rules so they get screwed? Oh, no, they're not going to do that, you moron. Bernie bros, wake up. Bernie is not going to be the nominee. He cannot be elected president. And if he was, he'd get nothing done. Your revolution is a fantasy in your head. And punching people and causing all sorts of problems for Bernie and committing violence isn't going to solve the problem. And in fact, it's going to make your lives much, much, much worse. This isn't a game. This is life. And if you punch someone, it's wrong. You're in the wrong. It doesn't matter that you read a book and thought the person you punched was a Nazi. You are wrong. You shouldn't use political violence under any circumstances. Violence is something you don't use unless you've been attacked. Self-defense is the only defense to use violence. To do it any other way makes you the aggressor, the oppressor, if you will. Something, supposedly, people on the left are against.